Hey everybody, it's Rick Trummer from Rick Trummer Consulting and Training, and I'm really hoping that you're enjoying this series on color. Last week we kind of started kind of a retouching / color series, and then yesterday, if you remember, we went in and we actually isolated a color tone, and we kind of changed the color, and that's for those people that need a perfect color with electronic. From the electronic coloring that's going on out there, and it will really help with that. Along with that, it also will kind of put in certain color shades so that you can match everybody's shirt. Maybe you got somebody that had an off-color shirt in a shot and you're trying to match it with another color shirt that's inside here. And that brings us up to today. Let's say we are trying to match shirt colors or whatever colors. How do we go about doing that? Well, we're going to be using some of the same techniques we did yesterday in the video, but this time we're going to be using kind of a different info palette. So what I want you to do, first thing that we need to do is under the window area, you want to make sure that you have your info palette up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move this so that it's up into next to the swatches here so that we've got it moving. And what we want to do is we just want to move it into a separate area that's inside there. So now once we did that, we're going to click on the info palette so we have it. And the other thing you're going to want to do is this is normally set to RGB as far as color. So click on that eyedropper and we want to switch it to HSB. That means hue, saturation, and brightness. Once you click into that, now we're going to be able to have a color notification or an info from the color using the correct palette that we're actually using to switch the color in the first place. What I'm going to do in this example is I'm going to make this reddish orange here look exactly like this color that's over here, which is kind of that aqua color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and you'll notice up in the info palette you have a bunch of different color schemes. You got it under hue, you've got 6, under saturation 98, and under brightness you've got 58. What we want to do is we want to match this color. So if you go over to the side under the info palette, you now have 178, 76, and 31. You want to write those colors down. So let's write down 178, 76, 31. That's the exact color that we're going to be able to transform to here. Now, once we have that information, all we have to do now is we actually have to just get into that color. So let's go under hue saturation like we did yesterday, and we're going to go back into selecting this color shade of orangish red. Okay. So just like yesterday, let's take it off master. We can go to reds if we want to. We're going to be pushing these together. So click on one end, push against the other end. Doesn't matter where you push it to. As soon as you click in this section here, you'll notice it centers itself. It actually says kind of magentas. So let's just double check to make sure we got there. There it is. It's reds. That's always a big mistake if you don't click on the right area. So make sure you do click on the eyedropper tool here and click on here instead of hitting the eyedropper tool over here and assuming you have it. So that's a good tip when you're actually selecting an area. So once we have that, we're going to again take our saturation down so that we can actually have a visual of what we're selecting. From here then you can either click on that plus eyedropper or hold down your shift key. And what we're going to do is visually we can come in here now and click on all of these red areas. You can see we're kind of getting real tight, and we've got one little red there. There we go. So we have it all selected here. Now, once we have it selected, we're going to go take this back, and we're going to move this back to 0. Now, we're back to 0. Now, what we want to try to do is get these two colors close to first. So I'm going to kind of come in, and let's just see if we can get these colors. Here we go. We're at least into a green section. And let's take our lightness down. So we're somewhere in the area. Okay, now what we're going to do from here then is we're now going to pay attention to these numbers right here. Now, a lot of you are going to say, why don't we just write in the numbers that we had there? Well, because we're going from one to the other, and so it's not an exact science. So let's widen out the sliders just a little bit so that we got that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the first hue slider, and then we're going to bring our eyedropper over here. Now, you're going to want your info palette up. So when we come over here, you'll see two numbers in the hue, saturation, and brightness area. The number on the left is the number that you came from. The number on the right is the number that you're going to. So if you remember, in the first area, we needed 178. We've got our box under hue actually highlighted, and we're going to want to go up in value. So once we go up in value, you'll notice it goes, right now we're at 174, 175, 177. Now we're at 178. Number on the left is the number we came from. Number on the right is the number that we've gone to. So that was our hue color. Now we're going to tab, and it's going to go to our saturation. Now you'll notice right now we're at 95, and we want to be at 76%. So you're going to use your down arrow key until that goes to about 76%. We're at 77, there's 76 right there. So you'll notice that the numbers, we couldn't use the numbers because if you look at the numbers so far, you have, although your hue value is about 173 and we're looking for 176, it's different. In your saturation area, we're at actually minus 33 instead of being at that 76 number. And we're going to tab next, and we're going to get the lightness, and we need to be at 31, and we're at 34. So again, our down arrow key, we're going to bring this down to 31. Now, if you look at those numbers, we're at 78, 75, and 31. So we're going to cycle back through, and we need to go up here, and it looks like we're either at 75 or 77. There's no difference between the two. So we'll just go ahead and click it in at 75. So now we have the exact color on these two items. So if you're matching shirts, we can be able to do that really, really quickly by doing the same type of thing. Now, we've got another problem in this shot in that we have some red down below here, and we don't want to take that color out. So by using your mask, you're going to put black in the foreground, go into your brush tool, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull those red shades right out of the item here, and so that we bring that back in. So that's how you match a color perfectly to another color that's in the shot. So if you do have sweaters or whatever that you have to match, this is an easy way of being able to go in and doing that and matching those color shades. Hopefully you've enjoyed this series on hue saturation. Tomorrow we're going to be finishing up with one more video in the series, and then we'll continue on with some other colors techniques next week. Until tomorrow, have a great one.